ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौरांगी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थे सुभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदायादिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। स्वस्ति अस्तु विश्वस्य खलः प्रसीदतां ध्यायन्तु भूतानि शिवं मिथो धिया। मनश्च भद्रं भजतादधोक्षजे आवेश्यतां नो मतिरप्यहेतुकी। भगवद गीता के इस प्रवचन में आप सभी का स्वागत है।
We welcome all of you to this session on Śrīmad-Bhāgavad Gītā. Today we are studying chapter 2, verse 34 onwards. In the previous two verses we had studied 31, 32 and 33. Bhagavan had said that do not deviate from dharma. You are a kshatriya and it is your dharma to engage in the war. So actually, Arjun, when he had asked earlier itself, Arjun had told that we do not know whether we will win or they will win or what is better. Is it better for us to win or for them to win? Meaning that we should fight in the war or we should not. So when Bhagavan replied to him, Bhagavan did not tell him that you fight. First of all, Bhagavan explained the discrimination between Prakriti, Purush Atma, and that you are Atma, you are not the body, and Atma never dies. After that, in verse number 30 onwards, Bhagavan started speaking that you should also pay attention to your Swadharma. In 31 onwards. So what do we understand from this? We understand that as of now, Bhagavan is telling him to fight. Fight means to perform his duty. And earlier, Bhagavan had not told whether you should fight or not. He was just giving knowledge. So its purport is that before engaging in any activity, we should make sure that our knowledge is correct. Bhagavan first of all gave him knowledge, the discrimination. And then he said that engage in the war. So we can act in two ways. One is out of ignorance and one is out of knowledge. When we act out of ignorance, then what will be its result? We ourselves don't know what will happen. But if we are situated in knowledge and act accordingly, then at least one result is certain, that we will not be implicated in the cycle of karma. This is what Bhagavan will tell in the upcoming verses, that if you engage like this, if you fight in the war like this, then you will not be implicated in sin. Not being implicated in sin means you will not be bound in the cycle of karma. So this is an extremely important knowledge that Bhagavan is imparting in an indirect way, that before acting, we should obtain proper knowledge. And the most important knowledge is our own discrimination, the discrimination between Prakriti, Purush, and Atma, the difference between body and Atma. As I have explained earlier also many times, that we are an individual, a person, and our existence has two components. One is the Atma and the body. The body itself is further subdivided into gross and subtle body. So if we have this knowledge, then we act accordingly, and then we do not get bound in the cycle of karma. So now what Bhagavan is explaining is that about the Swadharma, the dharma of the body. Here, Swa refers to the body. So Bhagavan is telling that you are a Kshatriya. Atma is not Kshatriya, Brahman or anything. Atma is just Atma. Atma has no Varna. Atma has no ashram, no jati. Atma is not born itself. So how can Atma have any of this? So Bhagavan is explaining all this. So Bhagavan is explaining that we have to understand these things properly and then we have to act. So he is talking about Swadharma. In Sanskrit, Swa also means wealth. Like we say Swami. What does Swami mean? One who has Swa. One who has wealth. Here Swa means wealth. That's why those who take sannyas, they are designated as Maharaj. They are not actually Maharaj or king of anything, but they have spiritual wealth. That's why they are designated accordingly. Swadharma also means that Swa eva dharma or dharma eva Swa. Our real wealth is our dharma. That's why Bhagavan is telling that even if you check your Swadharma, even if you focus on your dharma, that means the wealth what you have, it is this only. The external wealth, it keeps coming and going. Today you are wealthy, tomorrow you may become very poor also. But your internal wealth, that will always remain with you. Even after death, it will go along with you. That is why this is the real wealth. The external wealth, it is, there is no guarantee if the external wealth will remain with us even in this life, because mostly your wealth is lying in the bank, and we never know, bank may demonetize some currency note or may seize your bank account, or let's say there is COVID, you can't even walk out of home. So what will you do with that wealth if you do not have grains in your home but you have currency notes? You cannot eat the currency notes. So this is external wealth, and the internal wealth is our swadharma. That's why human being should earn both the wealth, not just external wealth, that also should be accumulated, but also the internal wealth. So that's why Bhagavan is telling that at least focus on your dharma and don't be afraid. And in general, the result of dharma is happiness, and the result of adharma is suffering. Like we have, like wealth. Wealth is not useful in itself. Wealth is only useful when it is exchanged for buying any object. Although the people who are who are dharmic, who are righteous, who are religious, they even derive pleasure in performing dharma. Just like some people who are wealthy and who are very greedy, they just derive pleasure in having the wealth. So, happiness is the result of dharma, and suffering is the result of adharma. So in Swarga, the word Swarga, Swar means Sukh. Although in general we think that Swarga is a place, that is also true, but the real meaning of the word Swarga is happiness. And that is obtained only by dharma. People who do adharma, they cannot go to Swarga. They cannot go to heaven. So Bhagavan is telling that you engage in your dharma and then you will go to Swarga. So the door will be open. There will be no obstacle in your path to Swarga. So the door of Swarga being open means that there is no obstacle. Because a door, if it is closed, it is an obstacle. And at least if you do not want to go to Swarga, send other people to Swarga, because those who will die on fighting on this battlefield will achieve Swarga. So such Kshatriyas are very happy who get opportunity to fight in the war. And in the next verse, he had told that if you do not fight in this righteous battle, in this Dharma Yuddha, if you do not engage in this righteous battle, then it is your loss only. So Bhagavan explained in both ways what is the advantage in fighting and disadvantage in not fighting. So some people may say that no, I do not want any advantage, so why should I fight in the war? So Bhagavan is telling no, if you fight, then there is a benefit, and if you do not fight, then there will be loss. So he explained that, and now also he is explaining. Translation: moreover, people will speak of your infamy for all time to come, and for a man of honor, infamy is worse than death. So, in the previous verse, he explained about the adrishta, meaning the result that one gets later, that you will incur sin. Sin means it will give you suffering. That is adrishta, meaning that it is not going to come up immediately. You will get it later. Now he is telling the drishta phala, the result that will happen immediately, and that is infamy. So the sinful result will be incurred in the next life, but infamy will be accrued in this life itself. People will insult you. They will speak ill words about you. And people in general are always ready to seek opportunity to criticize somebody. This is a this is a quality that human beings in general have, because we have envy inside, and that envy is very deep rooted because it is connected to our ahankar.
एक प्रकार से। तो ये बहुत पावरफुल
So it is like a child of ahankar. So this envy is a
दृष्टि करना,
very strong
हम
pravritti
दृष्टि नहीं देखते
in
हैं
us,
दूसरों के
finding faults in
अंदर। अगर
others.
हम दोष
We do
नहीं
not
करते
see
दूसरों में,
faults in ourselves, we
लेकिन ये
just see
अहंकार
faults
है,
in others.
इसका एक बहुत विचित्र गुण है।
Because ahankar has a very strange
किसी
quality
के साथ
that it always remains alone. It never mixes
हम
with
जब
anybody else.
आई बोलते हैं,
When we refer
मैं
to
एक का
ourselves as
ये
I,
हम अपने को आई
then
मैं
we are referring to our
मैं का
ahankar.
जो बहुवचन है वो हम होता है,
So the plural form of I is we.
लेकिन वास्तव में वी जो है वो आई का बहुवचन नहीं है।
But
तो वी
actually,
मतलब तो आई एंड यू,
we is not the plural form of I. We simply means I and you. We is not I plus I. Because there is nothing called I plus I. I is one
इसलिए
only.
उसका सिंबल भी एक ही है।
So its symbol is also one only. That's how we write I,
तो
just
ये
as a
अहंकार
vertical
जो है
line.
ये अकेला ही रहता है।
So ahankara always remains alone
अकेला
only.
रहने के कारण ये अपने को नहीं देखता है, दूसरों
And
में
since
दृष्टि
it
नहीं
is
देता है,
alone,
लोनली रहते
it
हैं,
doesn't see
अकेलापन महसूस
others.
करते हैं, तो हमेशा दूसरों की
People
तरफ
who,
देखते रहते हैं,
some people feel lonely,
दृष्टि नहीं जाती है दूसरों के पीछे
they
ये मिल जाए, कभी इससे बात हो जाए, मित्रता ढूंढते रहते हैं ना, चाहे
they just
फेसबुक
keep
पे
seeking for friendship, socialization with
तो
others.
इसलिए अपने दोष वो देखता नहीं है और दूसरों पर दृष्टि रहती है तो दूसरों को देखता है, और दूसरा अहंकार का
That's why he doesn't focus on his or her own faults, just keeps focusing on others' faults. And it is the quality of ahankar is to convince that we are very great.
और दूसरे के अंदर दोष दिखाई देते हैं तो दूसरा जो है वो नीच दिखेगा, आपको छोटा दिखेगा।
So when we see faults in others, that person appears very inferior to us, lowly to us.
दूसरों में दोष देखता है,
That's why every person sees faults in others. So Arjun had a great quality. He was very famous,
प्रसिद्ध होते हैं,
and people who are very famous,
जिनकी कीर्ति जिनका यश रहता है,
whose fame is spread across the world.
उनके दोष दृष्टि भी बहुत ज्यादा होती है, क्योंकि
So
सबकी दृष्टि उन पर रहती है,
everybody focuses on their faults also. The
और हम
people keep focusing on them, what he is doing, not doing. And whatever we see from our own vision. We have our own understanding, what is right, what is wrong.
ऐसा नहीं करना चाहिए था,
So
क्योंकि
we see
वो
from
ये
our own
सोच
vision,
नहीं
such a
सकते कि ये
person
दूसरा
did
व्यक्ति
something
बुराई
like
क्यों ये
this,
कर रहा है,
whether it is right or wrong.
क्यों कर रहा है, इसके पीछे इसका क्या उद्देश्य है, क्योंकि उसकी
We
मनस्थिति
do not
का हमें पता
understand
नहीं
why
है।
that person is acting like
हम
that.
अपनी
We do
मनस्थिति
not
के अनुसार हम
understand that
उसकी
person's
दूसरे की
mental
विश्लेषण करते
situation.
रहते हैं,
So based on our own mental
और जो
situation, we
उसका
analyze
बोल या
others.
उसकी कृति या उसके विचार या उसकी वाणी
And
हमारे
for other
विचारों से
person's
मिलती नहीं है
actions,
तो उसमें
thinking,
दोष देखते हैं।
these activities, when they do not match with those of ours, then we
कीर्तिमान
see fault in them. So Arjun is a very famous
उसका
person.
स्वर्ग तक नाम फैला हुआ था, तो अगर
He
आप
was famous even in Swarga. Now that Arjun, if he doesn't fight, and we should remember that Arjun's fame is because of his capability in fighting in the war, and he was the favorite, the primary disciple of Dronacharya. So if such a person leaves the battlefield, then obviously people will think that he became afraid, he was scared to fight. So Bhagavan will tell in the upcoming verse that people will think like this, that you ran out of fear. So you will be insulted. People will speak of your infamy. They will discuss all this among themselves. in those times there was no internet, so infamy, spreading slander, criticism was also limited. Nowadays, in 2 minutes, a person can be criticized all over the internet across the world. Now people can even make deep fake videos about somebody and spread his criticism.
मतलब तो ऐसा होता है कि वो कभी समाप्त ना होने वाली सदा, पर कहने का मतलब है कि काफी समय तक चलेगी कीर्ति।
So here avyayam means that uh, it will, this infamy will remain for a very long period of time, not in the literal sense that it will be eternally.
कौन कहेगा इसको?
And who will speak about all this? The bhutas, the ordinary people.
महापुरुष तुम्हारी कीर्ति करेंगे।
It is not that some great people will speak only, they will speak of your infamy. Not only them, even ordinary people will speak of your infamy. Because one does not have to be very qualified to criticize others. Everybody criticizes.
जन समाज में साधारण व्यक्ति भी आपकी निंदा करेगा।
So in the human society, even ordinary people will criticize you, they will insult you. So now if Arjun says that how does it affect me? Why should I be bothered about that? So Bhagavan says that it is important for you to understand this. Why? Because you are very famous, and people who have achieved lot of fame, they cannot tolerate infamy. In general, nobody likes to hear his own criticism, but people who are very famous, who have always received respect from others, they always expect respect, name, and fame, and to be garlanded in public and be praised, because everywhere they get that. They are nowadays called celebrities. Celebrity means who is celebrated in the public. So Arjun was a celebrity. Wherever he went, he was praised by people. But if he runs away from the battle, and wherever he will go, he will be criticized.
तो कहते हैं ये तो ऐसा ही हो गया
So it is as if
जैसे आप मर गए।
it is as good as like you have died only. In fact, not only died, it is worse than death. Why is it worse than death? Because when a person dies, he dies once. But this criticism, this will happen daily. And whenever you will hear, you will feel the pain. The pain of death is once. Whatever pain he had to suffer, he suffered in the death. But this pain of infamy, he will have to suffer from that every day. That's why Bhagavan is telling Sambhavitasya. Sambhavita means a man of honor, whom people consider very exalted, very special. So for such people, getting infamy is worse than death.
कि उससे उनकी अकीर्ति हो, उनकी निंदा हो। तो इस श्लोक के ऊपर एक पूर्व पक्ष उठाया जा सकता है।
So a Purva Paksha can be raised on this particular verse. There is a verse in Mahabharata.
ग्रामस्य अर्थे कुलम त्यजेत, राष्ट्र अर्थे त्यजेत ग्रामम, आत्मा अर्थे पृथ्वीम त्यजेत। कि अपने आत्मा अर्थे पृथ्वीम त्यजेत, कि अपनी आत्मा की रक्षा करने के लिए,
that for protecting your Atma, you can give up the whole earth. There is another verse in the Virat Parva. Most important is to protect oneself. If you can protect yourself, then you can search for the solutions to the problems. So Arjun can think like this here. So for that, the answer is Arjun will not think like this, because he is a Kshatriya. These verses of Niti, they have to be analyzed properly, in what situation they have been spoken and for whom have they been spoken. So the verse which said that for your own Atma, you can give up the whole earth. So why is it said that if many people are suffering, then you can give up something small for that? So that is a nyaya.
इसको पूर्व मीमांसा में बोलते हैं कि अगर बहुत लोगों का कल्याण होता है
it says that if many people can be saved by sacrificing something small, then that should be sacrificed. Otherwise, the majority will suffer. So it is for them, but this is not for a Kshatriya, because as far as a Kshatriya is concerned, it is his duty to fight for protecting Dharma. So Arjun cannot speak like that. So in the next verse, Bhagavan speaks,
भयाद्रणादुपरतं मंशन्ते त्वां महारथः येषां च त्वं बहुमतो भूत्वा यस्यसि लाघवम् महारथी लोग
translation, the great warriors will think that you have run away from battle out of fear. Indeed, those for whom you were so highly regarded will belittle you. So here Arjun can give a logic that I am leaving this battlefield because I do not want to kill my guru, my superiors. Earlier also he had told that how can I fight against Bhishma and Drona? Because Arjun has two problems in front of him. One is the battle, the righteous battle, and one is killing his Gurujanas. So which one should he choose? So he can say that out of respect for them, and I also do not want to destroy my dynasty, my family members, because he had told earlier that those who kill their family members go to hell. So he can say that I am leaving the battlefield just out of respect for elders, superior, guru. Then why will I achieve infamy? Why will people criticize me? In fact, people will praise me that Arjun was such a nice person. He had so much love for his family members, for his gurus. So Bhagavan is telling here, no, there is nothing like that. People will actually think that Arjun became scared because the Kshatriyas, those who are brave, courageous, they never leave battlefield out of any due to some family relation or anything. There is a wonderful verse in Bhagavatam spoken by Balaramji.
कहते हैं प्रजापति ने क्षत्रियों का धर्म ही ऐसा बनाया है कि भाई भाई को भी मारता है.
So he says that Prajapati has made Kshatriya dharma in such a way that even brother can kill brother. So this was told when Bhagavan took Rukmini with himself, and Rukmini's brother Rukmi was chasing from behind. So earlier Bhagavan did not tell anything, but when Rukmi was intent on fighting, then Bhagavan defeated him and removed his hair. So then Balaram stopped him that he is your brother-in-law. Why are you doing this to him? So then he said that it is the dharma of a Kshatriya. So that's why the Kshatriya, whoever they may be, even those who are on the opposite side, Karna, Dushasan, Duryodhan, why will they think that Arjun is leaving because he has lot of affection for his relatives? No Kshatriya thinks like this. That's why Bhagavan said that even the ordinary people, they will speak of your infamy. And the great fighters, what to speak of them? The Maharathis, they can't even understand, they can't even think that you have left the battlefield due to affection for your relatives, because you are a brave warrior and you have also fought against them earlier. Everyone knows that when you were residing in the kingdom of Virata, and when the Kauravas had been there to steal the cows of the kingdom of Virat, then Arjun, who was living there as Brihanalla, and he was teaching singing and dancing to Uttara, the daughter of Virat. So that time, even dressed as Brihanalla, he came and he fought. So now at least you are in your original form of Arjun. That time you were as a eunuch, but now you are in your original warrior form. So nobody will think as you are thinking that out of affection or mercy for the relatives, you left the battlefield. People will only think that you became scared.
तो डरना भी एक कभी-कभी काम देता है।
So sometimes becoming afraid also is useful.
अपनी कीर्ति अपकीर्ति से डर करता है कि मेरी
If a
अपकीर्ति ना हो,
person is scared of his infamy or inviting
तो
criticism,
ये अच्छा
then
है
and then he does not do any wrong activity out of that fear, then that fear is good,
अगर मैं इस प्रकार
because out of that fear he is not engaging in wrong activity.
लेकिन अर्जुन तो उल्टा ही कर रहा है
But Arjun is doing the opposite thing.
नहीं है कि मेरी
He is not even afraid of infamy.
भगवान समझा रहे हैं कि
So Bhagavan is explaining that only,
यही कहेंगे कि डर कर
that people will speak that you ran out of fear.
प्राणी है
And because we are social beings,
हम बहुत कार्य इसलिए करते हैं कि
we engage in lot of activities being inspired by thinking what others will think about us if we do this activity. This is a psychology among people in the society. They do many things simply because others are doing. If others are doing parikrama, I will also do parikrama. And they ask also that, did you not go for parikrama? They speak like this.
बनवा रहे हैं अपने शरीर पर
Others are putting tattoo on their bodies, so I should also have tattoo. They don't think that what is its use for me. If others have a particular hairstyle also, I also should have similar hairstyle. So we do many things simply imitating people in the society. Similarly, we also avoid many activities which people in the society avoid, or because of which we will be criticized in the society. Because we do not want to appear strange in the society. We do not want people to think that why that he is a very strange person. This is called social pressure. Out of social pressure, we do many things. So Bhagavan is talking about that social pressure only here, and especially not so much about the ordinary people, because ordinary people have the habit of speaking all kinds of things, but their opinion is not much valued in society, and we should not pay much attention to what those people speak. But more important is the Maharathis, they will speak of your infamy. That is very important. So then you cannot say that they are simply speaking nonsense, because they themselves are also brave warriors, and what they speak has got lot of value. If Bhishma criticizes Arjun, then you cannot say that no, Bhishma is criticizing out of envy. No, Bhishma is a qualified person. He is very knowledgeable about dharma. He is a brave warrior. So if he says that Arjun ran out of fear, then you cannot find fault in him. So that is why Bhagavan is telling in this verse that those who those who honor you very much, who respect you highly, those same people, they will treat you as insignificant. They will say that we never even thought that Arjun can run out of battlefield. They will spit on your face. They will criticize you on your face. That's why you should not leave the battlefield. So Bhagavan is explaining to Arjun in many ways, because when a person he gets into depression and stops working, then just to make him enthusiastic, just to enthuse that person, many techniques and logic have to be used. So firstly, Bhagavan gave him knowledge, then he explained from the point of dharma. Now he is explaining to him just from the social point of view. Here there is no tattva, vastu or dharma or anything. We are social beings, we live in the society. We should not act in a way that that society ostracizes us. Earlier this was quite common. Nowadays people live separately and people do not have much interconnection within the society. Most of the connection is by internet. Now even people don't go to office, they work from home. But earlier people were living in the society, and the social support was extremely important. Without social support, it would be extremely difficult for that person to continue his life. If if society told something about that person, he had to accept that. In the villages in India, even today, that custom is there, which people in the cities do not understand.
पर अगर आप उस स्थिति में जाके रहेंगे तो आप
They say that why he acted like this, he should not have done that. But if they do not know that if you would have,
जहाँ भी आप
if you live in that situation in the village, you have to live like that. You have to agree to what society says. Otherwise, everywhere you will be criticized.
बड़ा दंड होता था
So earlier, the biggest punishment was getting ostracized
काम करता
by
था
the society.
पंचायत होती थी और पंचायत
So earlier, that was the system. If somebody did anything wrong, then there was panchayat. That was like a small court in the village, and then they would take a decision that ostracize him from the society, which means nobody will associate with him anymore. Nobody will sit with him for prasad or anything. Even today in Vrindavan, in the sadhu samaj, that system is there. If any sadhu does anything wrong, then he is ostracized from the sadhu society. Nobody will invite him and nobody will accept his invitation. So he will not have any, he will no longer be accepted in the society.
मतलब बहिष्कृत कर दिया तो पहले इसकी बहुत मान्यता थी
So earlier, this was a very popular system in the society, that there was this punishment of getting ostracized from the society was considered a great punishment. So Bhagavan is telling Arjun that please do not act like this. And what about your opponents like Karna? So Karna had lot of competition against Arjun. His entire life was rotating around this point, that how should I make Arjun feel inferior? How can I make him look down? So Karna was also equally very competent, and he always wanted to hear his own praise and always wanted to prove that I am superior to Arjun. I am a better warrior. That's why he went to Parshuram to learn the art of warfare, and he spoke lie. Arjun had learned from Dronacharya, and Dronacharya had refused to teach to Karna because Dronacharya was not sure if Karna was a Kshatriya. He was popularly known as Sutaputra, the son of a Suta. Suta means the caste that is which has charioteers. That's why Dronacharya did not agree to teach Karna. Then Karna went to Parshuram, and Parshuramji, he did not teach to Kshatriyas. In fact, he had destroyed the Kshatriya dynasties. So Karna changed his appearance and he learned. And then later, when Parshuram learnt about that he was a Kshatriya in a different appearance, then he cursed Karna that you will forget this knowledge when you need it. So this proves that how much competition Karna was having against Arjun. At least Karna will never accept that Arjun leaves the battlefield out of respect for his guru or superiors, relatives. Karna will only think that Arjun became scared of me. He ran away just by hearing my name. And this is what Karna wants, that Arjun should become afraid of fighting. So that's what Bhagavan is telling, that if you run away from here, all these great warriors, they will criticize you. And criticism will be like death for you. So criticism is something that is very painful to our ears. In Bhagavatam, we know of Jada Bharat. He had nothing to do with the society from childhood only. We know that in the previous life he was King Bharat, and due to a mistake he became a deer again in the next life. And but he had remembrance of his previous life, and then next life he became Jada Bharat. Jada, he was known as Jada Bharat because he intentionally acted as Jada, like dead matter. So he was not interacting in society, not studying, not doing anything, just roaming around like a madman. So the king engaged him in carrying the palanquin, and when he was carrying that, he was not walking properly, because wherever he found ants or any other living entity, he did not step on those ants, so he was crossing over them. So because of that, he was not carrying the palanquin in a smooth way, and there were shocks. That's why the king criticized him that it seems that you are very tired, because Jad Bharat was very well built, his physique was very good. So the king criticized him, telling that it seems as if this palanquin is very heavy for you. So Jada Bharat, who was not at all bothered about his fame or infamy, even he did not tolerate this criticism. After some time, even he started speaking that what sort of king are you? What do you think of yourself? You are just a king of some small kingdom Sindhu Desh. I was the king of the whole country. The name of this country has been put after me, Bharat, and the country's name is Bharat. So the point is that tolerating criticism is not an easy job. Jada Bharat was not totally carefree, not bothered about anything. Even he felt some criticism that such a small king and I am carrying his palanquin and he is speaking all this nonsense in front of me. He doesn't know who am I. And then there is another katha about Bhagavan Krishna, the story of the Shyamantak jewel. So there's a long story about the Shyamantak jewel, and it's a very interesting story, and it's quite complicated. So the Shyamantak jewel, which was with Satrajit, who was worshipper of sun, and sun god had given him to him. So when he had brought it in the sabha to show to Bhagavan, he told that you give it to Ugrasen, why you are keeping? He is the king. So then he refused. And then you know this katha that Akrur, together they got Satrajit killed and got that jewel. And then Bhagavan started getting criticized because of that. People thought that it is Bhagavan who did like this. Satrajit, who was murdered, Bhagavan had nothing to do with that. But people started spreading the rumor that Bhagavan had stolen that jewel. So even Bhagavan had to work hard. Then is the Satrajit's brother Prasenjit, and he had taken that jewel in the forest, and there was a lion there, and the lion killed him, and then the jewel disappeared from there. So people thought that Bhagavan got him murdered and he took the jewel. In fact, even Bhagavan Balaram, he also started doubting that probably Krishna only has done this. Means even the elder brother Balaram, who lived with him from childhood, even he started getting the doubt. So people in Dwarka, they started becoming worried and told that to their children, don't go out, Krishna will take away everything. So when Bhagavan started getting criticized so much, then he thought that now I have to do something. And then he went away in search of that jewel. Then he understood that Prasenjit was killed. He saw the footprints of the lion, and then he met Jambavan. He fought with him and brought the jewel back. And then he returned it. So the point is that Bhagavan was also criticized. And we know about Bhagavan Ram. He was criticized so much that he had to give up his wife also. But we think that it was just a washerman who had done a criticism. But we should understand that if a person, ordinary person like washerman can criticize, then so many other people might have been criticizing Bhagavan Ram. It is not that Bhagavan Ram gave up Sita just because he heard a criticism from a washerman. No. So people who are very famous and who are very great, they never do anything that invites criticism. But even if due to some wrong reason, some criticism happens, then they try to act in such a way to clear away that criticism. So that's why Bhagavan is explaining to Arjun that do not act in such a way that invites criticism to you, because then you will not be able to clear it away. Because no matter how much explanation you give, At least in Bhagwan's case, he brought the jewel back and he could prove that I was not in any conspiracy. But what will you do, Arjun? Once you run away from the battlefield, people will think that you ran out of fear. So that is what is being explained by Bhagavan here. So we'll stop here, and there was some disturbance in the between.
संदीप जी, आपके पास कुछ प्रश्न है?
धन्यवाद, प्रणाम बाबा जी महाराज।
बोलिए।
मेरा प्रश्न ये था कि मान लीजिए जैसे
my question is that like there are dharma shastra, niti shastra, nyaya, etc. and the shrutis, smritis.
इनकी कोई प्रेसिडेंस है इन द सेंस, अगर एक जैसे आज आपने उदाहरण दिया कि नीति शास्त्र के अनुसार अपनी जान को बचाना चाहिए, लेकिन धर्म शास्त्र के अनुसार उसे अपने क्षत्रिय धर्म का पालन करना चाहिए, तो
so like you said that according to niti shastra we should protect our life, but by dharma shastra he should be ready to lay his life to protect others. Is there any such precedence? So the answer, the precedence is that in niti shastra is a part of artha shastra, and then above that is dharma shastra, and above dharma shastra is moksha shastra. So this is the precedence. And if there is some conflict in shruti and smriti, then shruti is considered superior. Shruti means Ved, smriti means Ved, Puran, Itihas, Dharma Shastra, ityadi. Even in shruti there may be some virodha, some conflict. So then mimamsa is required. Purva mimamsa gives principles to resolve that. There are many types of nyayas. There are 1000 nyayas in Purva Mimamsa, just to understand that in which place. Because if you study Shrutis, you will see there are lot of virodhas. So then Purva Vidhi, Paravidhi, then Paravidhi is considered superior. Then there is Upakrama, Upasamhara Nyaya. So it is not that always, but the later one is stronger. Sometimes even the previous one can be stronger. So there is lot of mimamsa in that has to be learnt properly.
आपने जैसे बताया कि कार्य करने से पहले स्थूल और सूक्ष्म शरीर.
Question, just like you said that before acting we should have knowledge of the gross and the subtle body. So subtle body, answer subtle body means you should learn how mind works, how ahankara functions. That is subtle body. So like you are in the car, so there are some gross elements like there is tire, there should be proper level of air in the tire. But there are other parts which you cannot see, carburetor and other things which are not seen directly. So you should have some knowledge about them also, because on the road, if your vehicle suddenly breaks down, then what can you do? Everywhere you cannot find an engineer to repair it. But if you yourself have some knowledge about that, then you can at least repair it to some extent. And in our case, these instruments are with us all the time. And all the time we have to utilize these gross and subtle parts of the body.
अच्छा, इसी में आगे था कि आंतरिक धन की आपने बात की थी.
तो आंतरिक धन जो है वही हमारा धर्म है, भक्ति है.
So the antarik dharma, the inner dharma, that is for us, that is bhakti. We act like this because we get the phala of our karma. Karma dharma is same only. What we call karma yoga, that is dharma yoga also. Sometimes it is called karma, sometimes it is called dharma. When karma is a general word, but when you act according to shastra, then that karma is called dharma. Karma is a vyapak word, so they can be used interchangeably.
मैं आपसे जानना चाहता हूँ कि जैसे कीर्ति की बात चल रही थी, तो साधारण भक्तों को
So question, you were talking about fame, kirti. In general, devotees should have nothing to do about fame. Answer, so it is true that we do not act to achieve fame, but we should also not act, do such things which bring infamy. In Sanskrit, it is said that one who is famous even lives after death. We do not act to achieve fame. So, na dhanam na janam, there janam means fame. It means to have followers, means fame, having fame, followers, because you will get followers only when you have fame, when you are famous. So, when Mahaprabhu is telling na dhanam na janam, so we want only bhakti, that is our only goal. But that does not mean that we act in such a way that brings infamy to us, that brings criticism to us, because that will invite also criticism to Bhagavan. People will think that if Bhakta is acting like this, so then people used to say earlier that he is wearing Kanti Mala and he is speaking lie. In villages, people used to say that people are wearing Kanti Mala and speaking lies. So that brings criticism to the Vaishnava Dharma. So one should not act like that. That is not our goal to achieve fame, but achieving infamy, that is also not our goal.
इसी से संबंधित एक हो जाता है कि वैष्णव क्रिया
So next question connected to this, it is generally said that Vaishnaver Kriya Mudra Vigye na bujhaye, that ordinary people cannot understand how a Vaishnava acts and then it brings criticism.
उसमें तो अपराध ही जाएगा उनको।
अगर आप वैष्णव की निंदा करोगे,
Answer, yeah, if you are criticizing a Vaishnava, it is an offense, especially if it is the very exalted Vaishnava, it is a great offense. So stay away from offense, from criticism, because that does not achieve any purpose. Even if a Vaishnava is doing something wrong, what do I achieve by criticizing him? If we can see that the person is doing something wrong, then we see that, we understand that, and until and unless we are in a managerial or a leadership responsibility to correct that devotee, then we have no business advising or correct that devotee. But and even if somebody we correct or we advise that person, criticizing does not bring any result.
आदरणीय बाबा जी, आधुनिक विज्ञान की प्रगति के साथ क्या मनुष्यों के लिए स्वर्ग
Question,
जैसे अन्य भौतिक संसार की
along
खोज
with
करना संभव है?
progress in modern
के
science,
लिए मानव शरीर में अर्जुन
can
स्वर्ग का
people
दौरा करने में सक्षम थे।
search places like Swarga? For example, Arjun went to Swarga in the human body. So answer, these Swarga and such places are not places which can be seen by our gross vision. In Mahabharata, it is said that when Arjuna went for victory, then he crossed a point wherein he could not see anything. So with modern science, how is it possible to see those places? Those places are achieved only by dharma, not by modern science.
You spoke that the tendency of criticize others is very deep-rooted. And so the question is how to uproot this tendency, and if this tendency is related also to insecurity or to be like kind of not settled.
So how to uproot it? ये हमारी जो एक प्रवणता है
So
निंदा
question, we have this tendency of criticizing others. How can we uproot this tendency?
तो उससे छुटकारा पाने के लिए आपको
So in order to uproot this tendency, you have to utilize your intelligence, your power of discrimination, and think, what advantage do I get from this? how do I benefit by criticizing? Because when you are not using your intelligence, you are simply moving in the flow of the world. So after 3 or 4 verses, Bhagavan will keep talking about buddhi, buddhi only. In this same chapter, I think Bhagavan uses the word buddhi 23 times. So we have to keep our intelligence aware and think accordingly, that we should not criticize others. This is only possible when we have a firm resolve in our determination to achieve bhakti and not engage in criticism of Vaishnavas. What to speak of Vaishnavas? Not criticizing anyone, because we do not achieve anything long lasting by this. For some time, due to criticism, we may derive some pleasure, but in long term, there is no benefit. It is like suffering comes because of sense gratification. So criticism is also a sense gratification. For some time, by using our tongue in criticizing somebody or by hearing criticism of someone in our ears, we derive some pleasure. But what is its result? Its result is dukkha yoni. It will become a cause of suffering only, and it will become a cause of great suffering. Aparadh is the biggest obstacle on the path of bhakti, and the biggest aparadh is Vaishnava aparadh, criticism of Vaishnavas.
प्रश्न है, महाराज जी, कोई शास्त्र ऐसा है जो मन, बुद्धि
Next question, is there any shastra which can explain in detail how mind, intelligence, etc. work? This question was asked earlier also. So as I had explained earlier, there is no such specific shastra like this. In different shastras, explanations are given, like in Charaka Samhita, Yoga Sutra, in their commentaries, explanation is given. Third canto of Bhagavatam, 26th chapter, there also you can learn about it, especially in the commentaries. But there is no such special book made just to explain this. In Gita also, Bhagavan will explain. So these verses and their commentaries, if they are studied, then you get knowledge about that. You can study Sankhya Karika, Sankhya Sutras. They contain such explanations.
ठीक है, प्रार्थना श्लोक। सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोग्धा गोपालनंदनः पार्थो वत्सः सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत्। एकं शास्त्रं देवकी पुत्रगीतम् एको देवो देवकी पुत्र एव। एको मंत्रस्तस्य नामानि यानि कर्माप्येकं तस्य देवस्य सेवा। कार्पण्यदोषोपहतः स्वभावः पृच्छामि त्वां धर्मसम्मूढचेताः। यच्छ्रेयः स्यात् निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेऽहं शाधि मां त्वां प्रपन्नम्। यत्र योगेश्वरः कृष्णो यत्र पार्थो धनुर्धरः तत्र श्रीर्विजयोर्भूतिर्ध्रुवा नीतिर्मतिर्मम। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। नमः पंकजनाभाय नमः पंकजमालिने नमः पंकजनेत्राय नमस्ते पंकजंघ्रये। भवे भवे यथा भक्ति पादयोस्तव जायते तथा कुरुष्व देवेश नाथस्त्वं नो यतः प्रभो। नाम संकीर्तनं यस्य सर्वपाप प्रणाशनम् प्रणामो दुःखशमनस्तं नमामि हरिं परम्। हरि ओम तत्सत्।